Have you ever wondered if Jesus ever got angry? Hey everyone, it's day 41 of our journey through Lent. I hope you're having a lovely day. Today's passage is Mark chapter 11 verses 15 through 17. Then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves, and he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." Now, this is one of the first points of tension we'll find in the New Testament between Jesus and the Jewish leaders, as Jesus points out their corruption, as he tells them the temple should be a house of prayer and not a den of robbers. Now, whilst this story is famous, not a lot of people actually know the context of where this is going on. Most people think this is taking place in the holiest of holies, but this is actually taking place in the outer court, the Court of Gentiles. And this was a place that non-Jews could pray at. And by effectively commercializing the place, the priests were saying Gentiles don't matter here, and that their prayers weren't important. And if we go to Leviticus 12:8, we know that doves were a sacrifice of the poor, and yet sellers were selling it up to 15 times the asking rate. So Jesus wasn't just angry about the commotion, but the exploitation of the vulnerable, which is why Jesus quotes Jeremiah 7:11, calling it a place of a den of robbers, because that's not just where thieves operate, it's a hideout after a robbery where they feel safe. And Jesus is essentially calling that out, saying that whilst the leaders felt safe in their sanctuary in the temple, they wouldn't be safe from God's judgment. This also connects quite nicely to a couple of verses ago, where Jesus curses a fig tree that had leaves but no fruit. And in this case, the temple is the fig tree here, saying that the temple has a look of holiness but bears no fruit. Most people think Jesus was just this chill guy who would let things pass. And whilst, yes, Jesus was relaxed, he was also fiercely loving. And to be fiercely loving doesn't mean to let us do what we want and still accept us. Because to love us isn't to allow us to do what we want, but to want what's best for us. And that's what Jesus is doing here. He didn't clear the temple to exclude people, but to include people. He was fighting for the poor who were being cheated. And to follow Jesus is to invite him to do the same thing within our hearts, removing the noise of our selfish agendas, so we can truly become a house of prayer and a sanctuary for others. As always, thank you all very much for watching. God bless, I love you, and see you for day 42.